Hi Tubies, here's Alexandra again, and welcome to another video. You might be wondering what my mold making project is going along with. Well, let me tell you. I tried to cast a master. That's the first master I attempted, and as you can clearly see, it reeks with bubbles. Bubbles everywhere, and as you can see at this side here, it was a pain in the butt to remove it from my casing, and it took me an entire day of scraping along here at the edge with the knife to get it out, and well, it was a total failure. But I learned some things about this, so it was not a totally loss. So, you know, nobody is totally useless. You can always use them as a bad example. Well, what I did then is I casted a bunch of resin masters on its own, and well, I learned a lot about this. Here you can see still a few bubbles in there, here and there. But I got better over time, and well, what I did is, you know, I don't have a pressure chamber that I can suck out all the air bubbles that are lingering inside the resin cast. So what I did, I took a simple toothpick, and I took my mold, cast the resin inside, and then piece by piece I peeled off, while the resin was still wet, all the bubbles that are forming on the bottom. And it was an excruciating process, but in the end I managed to create my masters. And what I did here is I mounted them directly onto my board here, on my casting board, and as you can see, the resin masters are perfect. They are absolutely nice and smooth, and you can really nice cast with them. I glued them on. Obviously here the back sides are not very flat, and so I took some sandpaper and I grinded them. That took me ages, but finally in the end they were all plain, and I glued them on, and here I have now my final casting master, and here is the result. This is the final product. It is now finished. I can cast this over and over and over again, and it's nice. It's really nice. So here you can see this was the first cast I've done with the handcrafted masters, and from that I cast the resin molds, the resin masters, these ones, and with that I then was able to cast these. So this here was my first cast of the new resin mold, and as you can see, it is thinner than the first one, than the second one, and well, it took me a little while to figure out how thick the mold should be to be stable enough, but well, this is now my own. But this here is one that I can totally sell, and as you can see here, these are 3 additional ones that I've cast. So they this way they come out of the mold here, still with a little flash of the sides hanging off. I need to trim that off, and here inside is still a little bit of flash here and there, but overall these molds are absolutely nice and perfectly cast. I can't wait to put them out for you to buy them. Thing is, in order to be able to sell them to you, I need to put up a business. So I need a so-called Gewerbeschein, and I need to say my community here in Solingen, where I live, that well, I'm selling these, and so I can pay taxes and all that stuff, and that will take some time. But as you can see, I've finished my first mold project, and well, you guys, you asked me to make round bases, molds for round bases, and I must say, no, in the first batch I won't do that. My goal is to create molds for dungeons, for terrain to make, not for casting bases, because as I have witnessed here, casting resin in these molds is possible, but it is not good for you to cast this over and over again. It is an excruciating slow process, and it will drive you nuts. So if you plan to cast bases with this, I would not recommend this at all. So, but if you want to cast with plaster, like this here, these are some test casts I have done with the molds while creating. Well, if you want to cast such dungeon tiles, then, well, go for these molds. But for bases, no, that's not an option, unless you have a vacuum chamber. But who wants to spend hundreds of dollars to create a vacuum chamber just to cast bases? In that case, you can simply buy here such an simple, roller from Green Stuff World, and make that with green stuff. It's way more effective than resin casting those stuff. But if you're still interested, I hope you like these, and well, I will be making 2 other molds now. I have ordered me new ones of those. Then also, when I finally have run down through this, I can calculate how much the molds will be in the end. So right now I'm estimating the cost of one of those molds for you at roughly 30 euros. That's around the standard price for such a mold on the internet. For example, also the Hearst Arts molds and the Abbott molds. So yeah, I hope this price would be good for you, that you want to buy those for this price. But well, we will see in the end how my calculation went, and how much the shipping cost is, and how much taxes I have to pay, and such other stuff. But that doesn't have to interest you. This is just stuff for me. Well, I hope you like this little in-depth view of my casting process here. And, well, we see us in the next video. You're Alexandra.